This is Harry Davis from Air Fight and joined by Fabio Wardley at a press conference for the Frazer Clarke fight. You faced off with him a few days ago. So Fabio, how are you doing?
I'm good mate. How's things?
Good, all good. So like I said there, you faced off with Frazer. Finally the fight is happening and now we're here at the press conference. It all feels like we're edging closer, right?
Yeah, we're getting there. It's long overdue, long time coming, but things are all ticked off, everything's all done and nicely, so the train's moving.
It's billed as bad blood, but it seems like only a few months ago that we had the fight with Adelaide and you settled the score there. Is this a bit more personal, that one, or would you say that was more heated?
I'd definitely say the Adelaide fight was a lot more personal, a lot more heated. There's always, between me and Frazer, don't get me wrong, we both want to smash each other's head in, but at the same time I think there's an underlying level of respect and just mutual acceptance of, look, we're here to do a job.
I remember at the Fury and Ngannou press conference, right? And that whole incident with Adelaide happens, and now we're here at the press conference. It does seem like, even though it's billed as bad blood, tempers are a lot cooler between you two, and there is mutual respect there.
Yeah, definitely. It's definitely cooler than it was previously. I think that the bad blood comes from the wasted time and the overdue-ness, even if that's a word, of how long it's taken to get this kind of over the line, get it done. It was meant to happen a long time ago and stuff, so there's a long conversation about that, but we're here, it's done, ready to kick on.
How satisfying was it to end the year on a high against, a bit of rival like Adelaide, like you say, on such a big event too, and not only win but get the stoppage win for the first loss of his pro career?
Yeah, that's the thing. I think that's the word for it. Satisfying. That was definitely the most satisfying win of my career. Definitely, and the performance I'm most happy with as well. I boxed really well. I did everything I wanted to a T. Boxed to a game plan nicely. So I showed a different side of myself. I know a lot of people say I'm just a kind of a brute force kind of fighter and just turn the switch and just start swinging haymakers. But in that fight, I cleanly outboxed him for every round as the judges saw it, and then finished with the KO.
So like you said there, we go back to, I think it was April, maybe start of May last year. You just beat Mike Kofi, I believe, and then this fight seemed imminent. For whatever reason, the whole thing happens. But have you sort of got clarity from that now? Is the frustration gone from that period, or is that something that you're sort of taking?
I don't know if I have clarity from whatever went on. There's a mix of stories of why it did or did not, why it didn't happen. Sorry, but again, it's irrelevant. It's done. It's ticked off. We finally got the fight signed. So here we are. Let's move on.
One fight deal with Boxer, was that something that was important to you when negotiating this? Just because I know you said in the past you sort of want to be, not to be rude, but like a slag and sort of go around different promoters, right? So is that something
it's okay, I called myself a slag, it's no problem. Yeah, of course, it's important for me to be in control of my career, for me to be able to be part of big fights, big events, big shows without any hindrances in the way. I think that's a major problem in boxing, is that we don't get to see a lot of the big monumental fights that we want to see because of those barriers. So as many as those of them I can remove, for me is always the best scenario.
Obviously coming to this one, headline in the O2 in your 18th, 19th professional fight, I believe?
18th, yeah.
Big occasion. I'm sure it's something that you're very excited to do in such a big and historic arena.
Yeah, when I first started fighting when I went from small hall to obviously these big shows, televised shows, my first one was at the O2. So then I fought there a few times after on different shows and things, and now to come back around and kind of almost full circle and headline it for myself is a crazy achievement and a crazy feeling, something I'm really proud of.
I think you've said in the past that it's probably your favourite arena to box at. Is that because of what you just mentioned, the part it played in the early stages of your career?
Yeah, it's a combination of that mixed with I've watched some crazy fights there as well, and I just don't think there's anything better. There's not an arena I've been at, watched live, jam-packed, going crazy, UK fans, and just the roar in the crowd and the feeling and the buzz of full O2 arena is something special.
The two biggest football clubs near me are Norwich and Ipswich, and you've been linked to a fight at Portman Road for so long now. Do you feel maybe a good win over Clarke will finally bring you to Portman Road?
It would definitely set me up. It would definitely set me up and point me in the right direction. The club are very keen. I get on really well with the director, Mark. We speak very regularly, and it's always the first thing he asks me about. So it's something we've had a conversation about as a team. It is definitely something I want to do. The question is when and who, but that's another focus for another time. Right now it's Frazer.
Is it tough to manage the stress of boxing and the stress of being an Ipswich fan?
Well, for a while it wasn't, no, because we were on a nice clean run and we were doing well. We're having a bit of a bump in the road, but all teams do, it comes with, but we've proved many times over that we're resilient and we can always go again, so I'm expecting us to kick back on now.
I think you're sitting at 4th at the minute. Is promotional, I never thought I'd be saying this because I remember when I was at uni I had a close friend who, I think it was League 2 or League 1, right? But Premier League, it could be on the cards this year. I mean, if that happens and you keep winning as you do, it's only right to go there.
Exactly. Hopefully those two things marry up perfectly, that Town get promoted, we get able to lock a big fight in at Portman Road, and the celebrations through the town would be crazy. So fingers crossed on that one.
Obviously last time out I mentioned you fought on the Fury and Ngannou undercard. We got a big, well, it was supposed to be a few weeks coming up, but obviously it's pushed back now. But was there any sort of temptation of you that maybe wanted to return to the Middle East, or was this one that was more personal and meant more to you with the Frazer fight?
Yeah, at the beginning we was weighing up a bunch of options. So the potential of going back to Saudi and having a fight over there and doing this fight here and stuff. But I just fancied being here, the O2, the fans and the UK support is something special to me. So for me at that point in time, I think this was the right one. But I'd never rule out going back there. It was a great experience and I'd love to do it again.
I have to mention this to you. If you're 2 weeks out from a fight and going back to the big cut above Tyson Fury's eye, is that something you've ever experienced? And if not, is it something that you can imagine can happen? Everyone says it's boxing at the end of the day, it's not football or tennis. But 2 weeks out from a fight, you have a lot of people saying, you shouldn't be getting a cut like that. But is it just boxing, as simple as I say?
Yeah, it is just boxing. I've had it previously. I've had injuries before fights. Before my Simon Vallily fight, I had a broken eye socket 2 or 3 weeks before. So I had to pull out and we had to reschedule and go again. Unfortunately, it's a tough sport we play, and you can't, especially a fight of that magnitude as well, you can't go in there at 30%, 20% with a all cut that might open up and that might end the fight for you. So it's aggravating, it's annoying, yeah, I know it's long overdue, that fight as well, but it will come sooner or later.
Do you think it will play a part in the rescheduled meeting, and are you still backing, presuming you're backing Tyson to get the job done first, are you backing him to get the job done in the rescheduled fight or not?
Funny, I was actually backing Usyk. I just felt like timing, ambition of kind of where they were in their mindsets of each. Don't get me wrong, I don't think it's a foregone conclusion at all. And I do always want a Brit to win, but if you ask me generally how I feel, I think that Usyk would edge it.
Finally, speaking of a Brit winning, you fought on his undercard last time. It seemed mental that he did what he did with Francis Ngannou, fight another Brit in AJ. It seems weird that we're even having the conversation that he can win the fight, but going off the freer one, it's a realistic, right? How do you see that one going?
Yeah, it's a great fight, and it almost came a bit left field, came a bit out of nowhere. We didn't really expect it, but it's actually coming off of the fight that Ngannou had with Fury. I think it's added a lot more to it. You've seen he's got a lot of capabilities, a lot of skills. He can really perform in a boxing ring. So for him to now match up with someone who's aesthetically, physically the same as him in terms of AJ and things, and seeing how those pair in, because they're two massive punchers. So seeing how those two things go together is going to be interesting.